Yo, I'm not sure. I know a lot of us weren't really um up at that time when I was going over the caster stuff, but holy shit, the amount of stuff I've seen going against it is actually kind of wild. And not that I'm on the same boat, but like I definitely agree. Like a lot of what's going on with casters stuff is kind of crazy. There's a bunch of stuff I was bookmarking also. So I saw this like not too long ago.
To drop the biggest power creep Honkai Star Rail has ever seen, and if they don't fix this, it could ruin the game's balance forever. Alright,
Yeah.
for those that don't know, Castorice's leaks just dropped, and as usual, she's looking absolutely broken, specifically one of her traces. Now, this trace is known as Lunar Cocoon, which makes previous power creep look like a joke. This trace basically allows your team to have a death save. Basically, if a unit or units take a lethal damage, they will have one more turn. If after that turn they've received healing or shielding, they will continue as usual, and if not, they remain down. This can only happen once per battle. What's insane is this ability does not require Castorice to be on your team. So yes, that means just pulling Castorice will give any team you have the ability to.
Now, I was talking about that yesterday and I was like talking about how crazy that actually was. Now, I didn't go into the full scale of it as much as this is going on right now, but this is actually kind of crazy. So, before I know I was talking about, I talked prior where Ron May was like the must pull for certain units and stuff like that, but no, this is Casters is like the must pull for every account. Like if you're just starting, like Castor's is probably like the character you need to have on your account.
Once in battle, forever. This isn't just another instance of power creep. This is Hoyoverse literally outscaling all of the previous units with
Definitely
global passives. If she goes live like this, what's stopping Hoyoverse from selling a future Harmony unit with crit rate or crit damage buffs by just being on your roster? Or a Remembrance character permanently enabling true damage for your entire roster? There's still time to fix this if we make enough noise, which there has been a lot of. Hoyoverse still has time to adjust her in beta and prevent this. As always, though, I want to know how you guys are feeling. Comment down below your thoughts and opinions, and please make sure to share this with other community members so they know what's going on.
We're also gonna watch this video from Tectone because I actually there's a few videos from Tectone I actually did want to watch because I do like a lot of his insight for a few things. Or it's not I should say like I align my opinions with that. I agree with it with a lot of what he says.
You guys know that I usually never talk about leaks on my channel whatsoever, and if that's something that you don't want to hear right now, then I recommend skipping this video. But I just came back from a 2-day break, and I heard what I consider to be, and I mean this genuinely, unironically, unequivocally, okay? And this is gonna seem like an exaggeration. The worst
Ooh, bless me. Sneezed. My bad.
Happened to a gacha game out of any game that I've ever played. Like, it is threat level dragon on how bad this shit is. And I say dragon because Hoyoverse is dragging their nuts on every single player's face for what they're about to do with Honkai Star Rail. This is offensive.
That is kind of funny because he could have just made a One Punch Man reference, but you know, it is what it is.
You should be worried. You should be scared. You should be voicing your concerns on the forums because I mean this genuinely. I think I would stop playing if this actually made it to live. It's actually that bad. They're going to take FOMO to a new height because it is truly that predatory. And I think a lot of players would join me when they understand how bad this precedent is on what it indicates for the current state of gacha games, the ever-growing problem of power creep in Honkai Star Rail, as well as the blueprint it's going to provide to other games and what they deem acceptable for the predatory practice that they can put forth.
I 100% agree. Like already. I know I know there was a big backlash between Mofuika and Sitlali, but let's not forget HSR was already doing that prior with Ron May and Firefly, and Firefly and Linksha. Like they were already doing that. And if correct me if I'm wrong, also, and I'm gonna actually fact check myself here as well. The Robin rerun they had it set up where if you needed dot or anything else on dot, I'm gonna check the banners real quick. Like I said, I'm just fact checking because I want to make sure I'm saying everything right. I don't want to be wrong about certain things. You had Firefly and not Linksha, sorry, it wasn't Firefly Linksha, it was Firefly and Fugue or Tingyun. So my mistake. I don't know where I got Linksha from. That was weird. I think Linksha was on the next patch after, right here. So in Robin's rerun, you had both dot characters available at the same time, which I mean, both all three are basically used amongst the same team. Again, how predatory that is, along with hey, if you want a Linksha, cool. Now, if you pulled Linksha, you could also wait the next over, and you can get Robin. If you didn't like Robin, okay, cool, you save, and then look what happens right after. You have again Aventurine. Aventurine is also really good for the aforementioned team prior, which you're going back over. Hey, Fei Xiao here, and so on and so forth. Fei Xiao, Robin. You had also amongst the same thing. You had Topaz. So literally anything for making a Fei Xiao team, they were literally just running those same characters that are needed for Fei Xiao's team back to back to back to back to back. Phase 2, you have Linksha, cool. You pulled Rappa, cool. You now have Fugue right here, or you have Firefly if you skip Rappa. Mind you, that's 2.7. Rappa was 2.6. Like they kind of ran these back to back to back to back, and then let's just say, hey, if you didn't pull Linksha, which Linksha was 2.5, you didn't pull Linksha, don't worry about it, because Linksha then got a rerun in 3.0. So that's literally 2 whole patches later, Linksha drops again. So sadly, couldn't get Robin or Buto. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They're already doing this predatory bullshit prior to. Like I said, I get from the Ron May and Firefly perspective, Ron May is an older character compared to Firefly, but in order for you to get, Firefly in a sufficient team, you needed to get Ron May. Like Ron May and Firefly are kind of like attached to the hip, and I'm not saying that if one does it, it's fine if the other doesn't. No, it's the fact that hey, we should have saw the signs way back with HSR first, and the fact that Genshin kind of followed after is what it is. That's why the Gacha. Yeah, I mean fair, but still, it's still wrong because again, how these stories and how these things are. You just saw Triby. You saw how cartoonish that actually was. You really think kids actually, like you think kids are actually like thinking, oh yeah, this is fine, this is okay, they're targeting kids with this stuff. That's just it.
I mean this from the bottom of my soul. This is worse than anything that Genshin Impact has ever done. It's not even close.
And that's the thing. It's the fact that it's gonna start with HSR, and then after that, it's gonna go to the other ones as well. It's gonna go into their Ikoui versus other games.
Worse than Malvika and Sitlali on the same banner. It is worse than pay gating quality of life. It is so fucking bad. It's almost saddening. But I'm gonna talk about what it is that they might do. And this is why I'm making this video, because it is so important to me that I'm hoping you guys will go onto the forums, go onto the YouTube comments, call out anyone defending this shit, going into Twitch chats, going into fucking Reddits, the Discords, and saying, we don't want this. The most beneficial thing that you can do right now is learn Chinese, go onto the Chinese forums, and bitch there too. All right? So Google Translate English to Chinese, go on to Bilibili or wherever the Chinese people talk. I don't fucking know. My social credit's not high enough, and I'm probably banned. And we need to voice that this shit is not allowed to come live. Now, in case you don't know what it is, and I'm going to tell you.
And again, like, even, like, it's just, it's not good. It's not good. Granted, animation society, it looks fucking dope. She looks fucking amazing, but the kit needs to be changed. The kit definitely needs to be changed.
Tell you why it's a problem, and then we're gonna react to a Reddit article and a YouTube video. What the passive does, and I don't want to clickbait you guys because I don't want to make this video too long before you get the point, and everything else is gonna be icing on the cake. What Castorice does is when she's on your account, is she provides a universal buff for the teams in play, even if she's not on those teams.
Now, again, just to sort of fact check that, and not to say that he's, Tectone is wrong in saying this at all. He's definitely saying this right. When I was first going over this stuff prior, I don't know why I pulled that up like that. That was weird. Sorry about that. When I was going over it last night, I definitely didn't understand the scope of it. And when I was reading it, I was like, oh, I didn't think about it like that. It's like, oh, wow, that actually is pretty fucked. So I'm going to read it here. Verbatim, it says this. After obtaining Castorice, or when Castorice is in the current team, comma, receive the following effect in battle. When an ally character receives a killing blow, all allies that received a killing blow in this action enter the lunar cocoon state. Now, what that means is that, again, from that first comma, after obtaining Castorice or when Castorice is in the current team, it does not matter if she's in the roster. Let me just check here. Cool. It doesn't matter if she's in the roster. It does not matter, sorry, shouldn't say roster. It does not matter if she's literally on the team thing. Like if you go to Member of Chaos, if you select her, it does not matter. You get that free revive just by just pulling on her. So I know I don't play a lot of Tectone videos on stream. That's just more me thing. I do enjoy his content, but his running joke would be like, hey, spend $300 on X, Y, and Z character, and then there you go. But this is kind of crazy because in the scope of HSR and how this game actually runs, if you spend $300, you basically get a free revive. So imagine my runs of Memory of Chaos where, yeah, I lose a character and then I have to restart the entire run. If I had Castorice there, she'd literally revive my one of the characters there. Which again, that already explains how bad that actually is. And as you saw from the SipSipStephen's little short, this is just paving the way for what other characters will do in the future, or could do in the future. Sorry. Now we've gone over leaks in my Discord channel, like specifically in that Discord channel prior, where I just post it what I find, and we try to cover it on stream. If not, we just kind of talk about it in that channel. But I do agree this is bullshit. It definitely needs to not happen. More so, we need to talk about this stuff now more than ever. Everything else in her kit, I feel like is fine in my opinion, because this really does have to do with her being on field and nothing outside of field. As far as I'm just kind of like skimming through, I know I kind of read a little bit of it on stream yesterday, and then I was kind of just going through. I was like, wow, this is definitely a lot of HP consumption and everything else like that. So really going about it. Oh, Nav, what's up, Nav? Even with her constellations or eidolons, I'm not seeing anything crazy she does off field or outside the account, which that alone is crazy, because literally at C0 her utility is that. Now it doesn't matter if it's C0 or C6, that alone, that comma there, that first sentence should not exist. It shouldn't. Like, why am I having to spend $300 for this character just so that I can actually have this utility that no other character has? This should not be the case. That needs to be changed immediately.
And the problem is that I've seen the in-game screenshots. I have seen what she does. And the worst thing is that there are 3 other characters coming out with a similar gimmick. All you have to do is pull them, and if they're on your account, I shit you not, they're going to increase the attack of every character on your team. They're going to increase the...
I'm like I said, I'm fact checking just to be completely sure. I know the revive is there because it clearly states, and then they explain characters in Lunar Cocoon delay on coming down and take 1 action normally. Okay, after the action, if they revive, healing, or shield, they're fine. But you know, they just need to remove the Lunar Cocoon state. That's really it. I don't see where they're getting the buff, and I don't know where that is, and I could be wrong, and I'm probably just not reading it and everything else like that. Maybe I'm dumb right here, but I don't know. Like I said, maybe I'll probably look at this later on and actually read it again to be sure. But I know the taking action is like right there, but I don't know about the increased damage. That's a little. I know there's other things that are going on with their kid, but I'm not seeing that. But yeah,
max HP and speed of all the characters on your team, and they're going to increase the skill levels of all the characters on your team. Now, the hope is to voice that we do not want this. Once again, they're leaks, so take them with a grain of salt. And the reason why I want you all to take these with a grain of salt is because I'm hoping there is no way this makes it to live, because it is that broken. It is so bad, it's insane. Because now, if you don't pull them, your account is weaker, whether or not you're using them, which means it makes every character a must pull if you want those universal buffs. And if you're saying they're not going to tune them to those stat requirements, I'm sorry, you are sorely fucking mistaken.
and that's the kind of the thing, and this is what I said prior. Like, why is it that, and I've showcased my Rappa and also my Firefly in different versions of MOC, Pure Fiction, Apocalyptic Shadow, all that stuff. I showcased them on, like, if you've watched my stream enough times, you know that I use those characters. I mainly use those characters as DPSs right next to my Acheron. All 3 characters have their Lycone, but only Firefly has Eidolon 2. Why is it that my Rappa at E0 is competing with my Rappa? It does not make any sense, and at some points, she definitely outperforms. They are like, the newest character is going to either buff the current roster or going to be scaled to the highest DPS of the previous batch. That's just it. So the fact that Castorice kids like this is only just going to set a precedent that they're going to keep on releasing characters that are going to be like this.
Now,
or like that, sorry.
Tribby was nerfed 3 fucking times before she's making it to live, and she's still busted. That's why it really makes me worried, but at least they're open to removing these things. And I want to make this very clear. These do not need nerfs. Any content creator who's saying they need nerfs is wrong. They do not need a nerf. What they need is full removal.
Yeah, that's what I was saying from the beginning, and I agree. Yeah. Like that comma, like that first comma, like literally after obtaining Castorice or when Castorice is in the current team, that comma just needs to be removed. That needs to be removed. Now, again, I gotta double check this other character's kit. Bailu, that's why I remembered. Isn't it at E6? Yeah. Bailu's E6. Bailu can heal allies who receive a killing blow 1 more time in a single battle. So, but that's a standard character that almost everybody can get access to. And that is fine. The problem is the fact that literally, if you like, it's just a random chance for you to get this versus you spending money to guarantee one. That's the problem. And on top of that, it's just if she's on the account, that's the issue. It doesn't even matter that it's in the game already. It's the fact that, hey, this is the problem here.
Full removal. There should be no character in the game besides ones that everyone will have on their account.
Exactly.
If the main character had these buffs, it's fine.
Exactly. If Trailblazer had that, then it'd be fine because eventually we will get it. E6 for Trailblazer is basically inevitable. It will happen at some point. It's kind of why I'm saying E6 or Bailu. Like, it clearly states it right here. I can't really open the game right now. Oh no, I can. Awesome. So while the game is loading, E6 drooling drop of Draconic Divinity. That's E6 for Bailu. Says Bailu can heal allies who received a killing blow one more time in a single battle. That Bailu already does that E6. The problem is again, Castorice does this at E0 account wide. That's the problem. That's the issue. That is the issue. I'm not even open to the idea that, oh, what if you just remove after obtaining Castorice, and then it's only when Castorice is in the current team. It's still a problem then, because, and I'm sorry, the game volume is crazy. I'm gonna lower this down just a wee bit because I know I need to also load up everything here. So give me like 2 seconds. I'm gonna just make sure I'm all set up here. It doesn't matter that, hey, you remove that comma where it's like, oh yeah, you adjust that sentence where it's like, oh yeah, like Castorice is in the battle, you have the full revive. It's still a problem because you're still spending that money just to get that character. It's still a problem. It's still an issue. Remove that comma and then we're good. Castorice is already a broken, busted DPS character. Like, you don't need to have them also to have a revive. Now, I haven't seen the scaling, like, oh, I see the scaling here, but I'm not, like, you don't need all this extra damage that she's already doing on top of a free revive account wide. You don't need that shit. You don't. Honestly, you do not.